This is important because Krishna is giving us the secret. How to enter the kingdom of God, right? A lot of people say, yes, we have to enter the kingdom of God. But the secret is here. Towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, we're almost there. Towards the end. So, that is the power of an Acharya. He's giving us the knowledge of how to go back to the kingdom of God. Purport by Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in his plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation nor by the non-devotees. If anyone wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has to take to pure devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee. Otherwise, the truth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will always be hidden. As already stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.25, Naham Prakashaha Sarvasya. He is not revealed to everyone. No one can understand God simply by erudite scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. Universally, degrees are not helpful. One who is fully conversant with Krishna science becomes eligible to enter into the spiritual kingdom, the abode of Krishna. Becoming Brahman does not mean that one loses his identity. Devotional service is there, and as long as devotional service exists, there must be God, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Such knowledge is never vanquished, even after liberation. Liberation involves getting free from the concept of material life. In spiritual life, the same distinction is there, the same individuality is there. But in pure Krishna consciousness, one should not mistakenly think that the word Vishate enters into me supports the monist theory that one becomes homogeneous with the impersonal Brahman. No. Vishate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in one's individuality, to engage in his association and render service unto him. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree not to become one with the tree, but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. Impersonalists generally give the example of a river flowing into ocean and merging. This may be a source of happiness for the impersonalist, but the personalist keeps his personal individuality like an aquatic in the ocean. One may find so many living entities within the ocean if we go deep. Surface acquaintance with the ocean is not sufficient. One must have complete knowledge of the aquatics living in the ocean depths. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and the opulences of the Supreme Lord in truth. As stated in the 11th chapter, only by devotional service can one understand. The same is confirmed here. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service and enters into his kingdom. After attainment of the Brahma-bhuta stage of freedom from material conceptions, devotional service begins by one's hearing about the Lord. When one hears about the Supreme Lord, automatically the Brahma-bhuta stage develops, and material contamination, greediness, and lust for sense enjoyment disappears. As lust and desires disappear from heart of a devotee, he becomes more attached to the service of the Lord, and by such attachment he becomes free from material contamination. In that state of life, he can understand the Supreme Lord. This is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam also. After liberation, the process of bhakti or transcendental service continues. The Vedanta Sutra 4.1.12 confirms this. Aprayana tatrapi hi drishtam. This means that after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as the reinstatement of living entity in his own identity, his own constitutional position. The constitutional position is already explained. Every living entity is a part and parcel, fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. After liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconceptions of life. Patyamam avijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tat anantaram. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulimitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I am born in the darkest of ignorance, but the spiritual master dispels this ignorance by the torchlight of knowledge. So this is very, very powerful, right? I mean, we are already in 18th chapter. It is not easy to understand, leave alone to explain. But certain things are very, very important, right? He says, university degrees are not helpful. I have 3 master's degrees. One in mechanical engineering, one in computer science, one in management. And when I came, I knew nothing, right? When devotees were talking about this, I knew nothing. They had to teach me from ABC, basics, right? So university degrees are definitely not helpful. I can speak from my own personal experience. And Srila Prabhupada also quotes here, Naham Prakashaha Sarvasya. He is not revealed to everyone. People say, show me God. And Prabhupada's answer was, what is your qualification? Do you have the qualification to see God? First qualify, then question. We tend to, in general people, they tend to want everything on a platter. We live in a fast lifestyle, right? Everything is available at tip of fingertip on Facebook. Fast food. You drive by and everything is available within 1 or 2 minutes. Of course, it takes about half an hour to prepare in the background, but it appears as though it only takes 1 or 2 minutes. So the same doesn't apply to spirituality, right? You cannot just have spirituality in a fast drive-through. There's no drive-through spirituality. One has to invest the time and energy to understand this process. Like back in 2003, devotees were teaching me the basics. And it took me, 21 years to even understand how to read the Bhagavad Gita. So it's a lifelong journey. It's not going to happen. Till the point of death, we are going to learn this. The learning never ends. So, becoming Brahman does not mean that one loses his identity, Srila Prabhupada says. So this is the great debate between Mayavadis and devotees. Mayavadis say that after death, we become one with Brahman. They also quote the verse, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman is reality and the world is an illusion. So Srila Prabhupada corrected them, saying that world is not an illusion. Your propensity to enjoy the material world is an illusion. The world is still there. There is wood, there is steel, there is a roof. The world still exists. We still have to live in this world. But our propensity to enjoy is an illusion. Material, like His Holiness Rompa Swami Maharaj once said, the propensity to understand or to think that the material world is created for me is an illusion. Otherwise, the world exists. The world was created for a purpose. And what was the purpose? To rectify souls. Rebellious attitude. That's it. We rebelled from God, we came here. If we correct our rebellious attitude, we'll go back. It is that simple. But it takes an entire lifetime to understand that we are rebelling. Like once one person said, I don't have envy for anybody. Right? But then somebody was walking behind him in the door and then he did not really keep the door open. Right? He thought the world is for me. It's not for everybody else. Right? So that tendency lingers in us. Right? Like we look at the picture, Krishna is dancing with the gopis. And we have the feeling, why should only Krishna enjoy? Why can't I enjoy? And the moment we had that thought, we were kicked out. It's not like we were kicked out. The moment we had that thought, we fell down from the spiritual world into material world. He is the supreme enjoyer, supreme controller, cause of all causes. When we try to pretend or imitate him, this is what happens to us. We are here in dance. Liberation involves getting free from the concept of material life. You see, it's not like you give up everything. Some people quote the next verse, 1866, and say, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, give up everything. So I will give up spirituality also. No. You give up the conception of material life, right? So that's the big difference that is there. So you don't give up everything. God has given us a body for a reason. We have to use this body to purify the soul and do our duties in the material world and get out. So we have to get rid of this material concept of life. In the spiritual life, the same distinction is there, the same individuality is there. but in pure Krishna consciousness. So in the pure Krishna consciousness, we acknowledge Krishna as the be-all, end-all of everything. He is the creator, he is the enjoyer, we are dependent enjoyers. So when we give bhoga to Krishna and he gives us prasadam, we are also enjoying. It's not like Krishna eats everything and he gives us nothing. No. He gives everything back, plus something with mercy, right? So the mercy comes, like in the Sadhu Sangha, His Holiness Indraduma Swami Maharaj was raising his heads and he's saying, mercy, mercy, like, give me mercy, my Lord, like that, right? I mean, he was making a point. It's applicable to all of us who are in the audience. There are about 3,000 people who are listening to Maharaj sing, right? So, and then he fights against this whole monistic theory. Monistic means everything is one. Everything is one. And when we leave this material world, we go join him. We actually go into his body. We become one. Right? There are so many philosophers in South India like Jiddu Krishnamurti. He was a proponent of this. Right? There are so many sannyasis in India, the Mayavadi sannyasis. If you look at the numbers, the ISKCON gurus are outnumbered by Mayavadi sannyasis. There are thousands of them. All the way from Himalayas to Kashi to South India and Sringeri Mutt. There are thousands of such sannyasis. But Prabhupada's miracle is that he is teaching us that Krishna is a person. We don't become one with him. We are eternally separate, but we are part and parcel of him. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. And our Swarup or identity is that we are always servant of God. Nitya. Jivera Swarupa Hoy. Always. It's not like after liberation we suddenly come to the same platform as God. Actually, Krishna is so merciful, after we go back to the abode, he will treat us like his equal. There is different kinds of liberation, right? Sarishti, Samipya. Samipya means being close to him. Sarishti, same opulences as the Lord. And then he gives us the same treatment. He treats us as equal, although we are not equal. That is the beauty of Krishna. But the moment we had that envy, we had to leave the spiritual world. And that's how we entered here. Srila Prabhupada says, no, Vishate means that one can enter the abode of Supreme Lord in one's individuality. We are still individual, eternally individual. And to do what? To engage in his association and render service. Right? Seva. And he's countering the impersonalists again and again throughout the book and throughout his 70 books. This, what is this? The merging of, just like the river merges into ocean, impersonalists quote this a lot. Oh, just like rivers are merging into ocean, we all become one. Ocean is one. No. Srila Prabhupada uses a different example from Mandukya Upanishad. What does he say? The green bird sitting on a green tree looks everything green. But has he merged? After a little while, the bird flutters, raises its wings, flaps its wings. Then you see that the bird is distinctly individual than the green branch. Although initial impressions was everything is one, it's not so. And then Srila Prabhupada makes this emphatic statement. Because of his pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and opulences of Supreme Lord. So a devotee, only a bhakta. That's why this word starts with Bhaktyamam abhijanati. Janati means knowing. Like in Hindi, janna means knowing. So who knows? Bhaktyamam means only a bhakta, devotee will know. But what is the definition of a devotee? He gives clearly. Not everybody is a bhakta. People, in general, we loosely use the term whoever enters this temple hall, we call them bhakta. But the real definition of bhakta, Srila Prabhupada explains here. Right? Freedom from material contamination. Right? And bhakti begins after mukti or liberation. Bhakti is not like so cheap. So liberation is somewhat easy. You don't identify yourself with material nature. You understand that you are the soul. You are not the body. You come to the Brahman concept. There are thousands of people who have come to that concept. But then begins the real challenge, that we need to understand Krishna's superiority. Right? He is the original one, and we are all his divided parts and parcels. But we are eternally divided. It's not like we'll again go merge with him after liberation. That's the key concept, right? So this fight has been going on for thousands of years in India, Bharat. Some people say everybody is one, everybody is God. Some people say no, Krishna is God and everybody else is his servant. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. Das means we are all servants. But in the modern world, especially in America, we all want to become what? Boss. Right? So we are not boss, we are always a Das. We are always a Das, servant of Krishna. The moment you understand this, then what does a servant do? The servant serves, right? Somebody right now is cooking in the kitchen. Somebody is serving the Lord on the altar. Somebody, after our class is done, will clean the floor. There will be some broken pieces in the driveway. Somebody will get cement and patch up the driveway. All of this is service. It's not like one service on the altar is superior to other services. Somebody will bring extra cups and glasses, put in the prasadam hall. Everything is seva, right? Some light bulb goes away, somebody will come and change the light bulb. All of this is service to the Lord. So, when we move from the concept of a boss to a das, spiritual life begins. The moment you think, oh, I'm a director at XYZ company in Dallas downtown, that's it. You don't have the qualification to get liberation or even bhakti. Right? Bhakti comes after liberation. Srila Prabhupada makes it very clear. Right? The Vedanta Sutra confirms this. Prayana tatrapi hi drishtam. This means after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as reinstatement of living entity in his own identity. So what is your identity? Right? Typically, in computer software, there is something called Identity and Access Management, IAM. And people get paid $150,000 to develop these softwares. And, so how does anybody access a website on the internet? That's Identity and Access Management. But what is your real identity? Again, it comes back to Jivera Swarup. Swarup means identity. Nitye Krishnera Nitya Das. Eternally you are servant of God. That concept has to be dwelled in. We need to remind ourselves every day by reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna is always eternally superior and we are always his servant. We keep forgetting. We think that, especially what happens when the small baby is born, right? Everybody gives so much love and affection. Oh, Kuchi Kuchi, how are you doing? Like that. Eat this, take this flower, take this toy. And all of a sudden this soul in the living body, in the human body, starts thinking, oh, I must be very special. Everybody's showing so much love to me. Right? And that conception of, oh, I'm something superior, and the pride sets in. And pride sets in, spiritual life finished. Right? So by the time of 3 or 4 years old, this small boy or girl no longer needs to think that I am a servant of Krishna. They forget. Srimad Bhagavatam says, the living entity in the womb, the fetus is crying out loud, Krishna, rescue me. I'm in the jail, right? You cannot move. Maybe you can move 2 inches here, 2 inches there in the womb of the mother. And then they pray, Krishna, let me out. I will surrender to you in this lifetime. But what happens once they come out? Grandpa, grandma, uncles, aunts, everybody pamper the kids so much, they forget. That's it. Forgetfulness is our disease, Srila Prabhupada says many times, right? Srila Prabhupada continues the same theme. Every living entity is a part and parcel, fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. So, if you read any purport of Srila Prabhupada, a long purport especially, the entire philosophy is there in one purport. One purport is sufficient to take us back to Godhead. For bhakti, mukti plus bhakti, like that. Mukti first, bhakti later. Liberation first, and devotion to the Lord. So right now we are sadhana people, right? So we are only practicing bhakti. Real bhakti has not come through. So we practice by chanting 16 rounds every day, following the regulative principles, no eating meat, no fish, no eggs, no alcohol, no coffee, no tea, no intoxication, that's all intoxication, no gambling or speculation. Mayavadis speculate on the nature of Brahman. That is a disqualification. Mayavadi means you and I are God. Where did you learn that? Because they're speculating. Bhagavad Gita doesn't say that. And then no illicit activities outside of marriage. So if you want to have sex, get married. That's a concession. It's given to you. But don't do hanky-panky outside marriage, because then that will lead to other problems. All 4 are disqualifications for spiritual life. So that's why if you chant 16 rounds, follow these 4 regulative principles, 50% of the job is done. So what is the remaining 50? That is the challenge, right? To understand we are servant of Krishna, our mind doesn't agree. It thinks, I am the master, I am the controller. Although you cannot really control anything. You're going on the car, and if you come to the left lane on the dotted line, somebody can come and bang you from this side. If you go on the right side, somebody can bang you on this side. And if you overeat on one day, next morning you got to go to the bathroom quickly. You wake up before everybody and go, because the food is now coming down. You cannot control your own biological processes. Yet we think we are somehow some bada controller, great controller. Right? So the moment we understand that we are here to serve God, that is another 10-15% of the job done. Right? Then begins Shastra Adhyayan, understanding the nature of reality, Brahman. Right? So the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam gives the whole philosophy. What is that? Janmadiyasya yato anvayad vitartas chartesva abhignaswarat yene brahma hridaya adi kavaye muhyanti yatsuraya tejovari mritam yatra trisarga mrisam dhamna swena sada nirashtakuhakam satyam param dhimahi. So Krishna is the param satyam. There are a lot of truths, but he is the absolute truth. When you net out everything, you reach Krishna. But why net out? Read the book, follow the acharyas. Srila Prabhupada is right there teaching, he already taught us. Just quickly jump to that conclusion, I am a servant, I am not the boss. Otherwise you'll spend all of your life and there's not much time to really go back to the spiritual world. So better to take certain things on face value and begin the journey. As you're beginning the journey, Krishna reveals as Paramatma within the heart. He gives us the knowledge internally. Do this, don't do this, right? Like in Hindi there is a saying, Pehli pukar to Paramatma ki hai. The first instinct that you get is from Paramatma. But usually we ignore him, right? Paramatma says, then the speed zone is only 50, don't go fast. You say, who's going to catch me? Come on, let's go 60. And then next thing, police is after you. And the tickets are very expensive in Texas compared to some of the other states like Mississippi and Louisiana. Right, you'll pay like $300 for speeding and things like that. So, by following the rules of nature, you get freedom. By violating the rules of nature, you are trapped. Right? Trapping could be physically being put in a jail, or mentally, all these things are haunting you day in and day after. Right? If somebody did some mistake, right, that keeps haunting them. Even you can recollect from your own lifestyle. If you did some mistake in the past, even when you are 7 years old or 15, that thing haunts you throughout your life. It keeps coming back because this thing is like infinite. You can hold infinite memories in your heart and brain, right? So the quick and better way is take the guidance of the acharyas and quickly come to a platform of 1866, which is Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Take my shelter. What will I do? Aham tam sarva papebhyo. I will take away all your sins. Mokshasyami masuchaha. People coming from Christian tradition think, Jesus has taken all my sins, so I can do more sins. Alright? But then isn't that foolishness? Do you think Jesus is going to keep on taking your sins? At some point he'll say, get out, you rascal. Right? It's not infinite. Initially, yes. Same thing applies here too. So, we come to the platform of, I need to now follow this path. From that point on, we should stop making mistakes, right? Or cut down drastically. There is always the flywheel effect, right? The fan, after you switch off the light or the switch, it still goes on for a few seconds or minutes. Same thing, our sinful past will continue to have that flywheel effect. Flywheel effect is from physics. So it keeps going on till the friction in the ball bearings slows it down to a complete halt. At some point, it will come to a complete halt. Right? Then we become Sthita Dhira. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we need to be a Sthita Dhira Muni. Means there's no more wavering, no more left or right. Yes. Krishna, you have given me this information. Prabhupada, you have given me this information. Now I'm going to follow this. I'm not going to waver. And you will take me back home to the spiritual world. Okay. So any questions? I've been talking for a while. Any questions? So we have some two newcomers in the back. Yeah. I don't think you have heard much, but you can ask some question about what we are doing, why we are doing. There are always some questions, right, swirling in our minds. Yeah, so today's topic was Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. Means only by devotional service one can know who God is. People say, show me God. But God is not so cheap that He will reveal to yourself. We have to qualify ourselves to see Him through the process of chanting Hare Krishna mantra, through the process of giving up bad habits like eating meat, drinking alcohol, doing hanky-panky outside marriage, speculation, philosophical speculation, gambling, those kind of, which most people know that these are bad, but yet they do it. Like I was going through a driver training course recently, and the doctor was saying, even one beer gives enough intoxication that your judgment is impaired on the road. Which means he's essentially saying, don't even drink. But how many people in America are caught every day DUI, right? Driving under intoxication. And then they get into trouble. Sometimes license is taken away. The ticket is like $350. Then there are so many penalties. Yeah, sorry, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you for that. It was really sweet and took away a lot of points. Going back to what you were saying about devotional service, so I feel that this spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge is revealed to us when we perform devotional service, but you were mentioning things like chanting japa and maybe like doing things in the temple, but how can sometimes even when we're chanting japa, we might not be thinking about Krishna? Why does that happen? And two, how can we stay focused?
Yes, very, very good question. I asked this question 18 years ago to one of the acharyas in ISKCON. So what happens is, every day you are processing millions of data points, right? As you are driving, as you are walking, you have too many things in your mind. And what happens, like when you go into a dirty room, it looks pretty normal. But as you start cleaning, what happens? The dust starts rising. So whenever you're cleaning, you should wear a mask, because that's when you can fall sick. Even cleaning after 1 month trip somewhere and you come back home, the house is so dirty that there's so much pollen and so much dust and dust mites, you'll fall sick. So what happens when you start cleaning something, the dust rises. Same thing with our mind. Actually, people say mind is here. Mind is actually here in the heart region, because the soul is here. Man, buddhi and ahankar, mind, intelligence and ego are here in the heart region. This is just like random access memory in computer terminology. It just accesses things. So what happens is, when we are chanting, we are trying to disturb, agitate the current status quo. So you will have more thoughts during chanting than if you were not chanting. A lot of people say, oh, before coming to ISKCON and devotional service, my life was so peaceful. Now after coming here, I'm very agitated. You should be. Because you have done so many things incorrectly in the past, all those thoughts are surfacing right now. Right? Like, you see, there is a tranquil pond. Right? Sometimes the geothermal energy from the bottom of the pond, due to, the thermal activity under the ground, one heat wave comes up and a bubble comes. And all of a sudden the surface of the pond is disturbed. In the same way, we have billions of thoughts hidden inside the heart, not only from this lifetime, but from many previous lifetimes. The soul never dies. And when the soul leaves the body, also known as death, the soul carries three things. What are those three things into the next life? Anybody know?
Mind, intelligence and false ego.
Mind, intelligence and false ego. Man, buddhi and ahankar in Sanskrit. Hindi is also same. Man, buddhi and ahankar. So your mind travels from body to body. Even when somebody is killed in a road accident, akala mrityu means before their normal time, they are destined to live till 80. At 40, they had a violent car accident and the body can no longer support. Head is broken, legs are broken. So the body says, no, I cannot stay here anymore. Sorry, the soul says. And the soul leaves. And it spends the next 40 years as a ghost. So ghosts are real. Right? People say ghosts are not real, but then they cannot explain a lot of phenomena. They feel uncomfortable when they go into a hotel room. Maybe somebody committed suicide in that room, right? So that ghost is still lingering. So when I go to a hotel room, first I do Namaste Narasimhaya Prahladaladadaine. So you have to sing that mantra. So that wherever the ghost is, at least it won't bother us. It'll go to the neighboring room and somebody is drunk there in the neighboring room and they have their mouth open like this and the ghost enters through the saliva into the body. That's why never sleep with your mouth open. That is the entry point of a ghost with saliva. There's so many things. I mean, our Shastra gives, all the Vedas give a lot of these points, right? Yeah. So did that answer your question or?
Yeah, that's helpful.
So our mind is agitated when we chant Hare Krishna in a good way.
Yeah,
So the dust comes out.
yeah, I observed this also being in an ashram setting where, you know, it might be peaceful at home when you're by yourself, and then when you go into ashram, it's like you see
Yeah.
a lot more of yourself that you
Yeah.
didn't know you had.
And also if you are in front of your spiritual master,
Oh, yeah.
certain things come out.
Yeah.
Because of their potency, our rascaldom comes out.
Yeah.
You say, oh, why did I have this nasty thought? Because in presence of a spiritual leader, those things come out. Like Shrutakirti Prabhu in ISKCON Atlanta last weekend during the Rath Yatra. Before the Rath Yatra, they had this class. And he was explaining how one air hostess, as they used to call back then, now they are called flight attendants, back in the 70s. He was flying from Mexico City to Caracas, Venezuela. And this flight attendant, she was a very nice, well-mannered lady. As Prabhupada was having prasadam and Shrutakirti Prabhu was having prasadam, they kept the prasadam side. So she reached out, took a little bit of prasadam, put in her mouth. And then she went on with her own business. And then 15 years later, devotees were going through rural Venezuela. And they were chanting Hare Krishna, Harinam, and they knocked the door. And the lady opened the door with tilak. And she said, please come in. And then she had Prabhupada, she had Krishna, Mahamantra was going on. People asked, you're in the middle of nowhere, how do you know about this? She said, I saw Prabhupada on the flight, Mexico City to Caracas, right? And she, without permission, she took Mahaprasad, right? Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad is offered to the deities, but when Prabhupada tasted it, it became even more potent. The Guru's power is, the Guru who follows Krishna completely, his power is sometimes more than Krishna. Krishna empowers that Guru in such a way. So she became a devotee. Only one encounter, right? Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. 1/11 of a second is lava, according to mathematics. So 1 second is already 1/1000 is 1 second, right? Lava is 1/11 of 1 second. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. Even with 1/11 of a second of association, you can understand who Krishna is. By the mercy of the Acharya. Normally we are not capable. But how did I become a devotee? Like that. I was like totally in college, engineering college, I was totally like an atheist. And when somebody would say something, I would not listen. My wife said, why don't you bow down to the pujari? Like, you know, people who are doing pujas. I said, no, why should I bow down to him? And here, 18, 19 years later, I am giving a class on Bhagavad Gita. How did that happen? Because of these acharyas, they give us their mercy. Right? Kripa Shakti. Kripa Shakti is very powerful. Otherwise, you'll go life after life, like Mayavadis. Life after life, they cannot understand Krishna. Because they are always in that rebellious attitude. But if we conquer that rebellious attitude, then we will understand Krishna. So we are all very fortunate. Just sitting in this room is not easy. After millions of lifetimes, we have entered a Krishna temple. Some lifetime as a dog, some lifetime as a cactus, some lifetime as a pigeon. Right? So it is not normal. So when now that we have come here, we have to make full use of, like as Prabhupada says, make the best use of a bad bargain. Somehow or the other, we are stuck in the material world. But what is the best use? Chant Hare Krishna, follow the principles, attain bhakti. Right? And then we can move forward. So your question is very valid. Almost everybody who comes in ISKCON asks this question. Why is my mind having all these nasty thoughts?
And so what are some ways to focus the mind more in japa?
Japa is the tool, is the beginning, and japa is the end. So how do you focus the mind? By hearing the japa consciously, right? So each word, Hare Krishna, okay everybody, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 16 words. You should hear each one of the words. Typically what happens is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So the second Ram we forget. Right? We drop, we slur. No. The Hare, first Hare and the last Rama should be distinctly audible. There's a reason God gave these instruments, right? Tongue is to chant, ear is to hear. And we have 2 ears and 1 tongue. So use it in that proportion. Talk less, hear more. Alright? I mean, I used to talk more and hear less. And I used to get a lot of trouble in office and everywhere. Then after coming into Krishna consciousness, I'm trying to do the opposite. Still, our nature is there from millions of lifetimes. We have to correct that. So hearing every syllable distinctly, like His Holiness Navayogendra Swami, when he came and stayed with me in Seattle, I used to live in Seattle. So he gave us a lot of association. He used to stay a week at a time at my home and gave a lot of association. So he taught me how to focus, right? I mean, the reason I'm able to even speak a little bit today is because of so many ISKCON sannyasis who have trained me over the last 20 years, right? So many people. It's not my own Guru Maharaj, his own Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj. He's very strict and staunch. So he will keep me, he will take a stick and beat me. I mean, figuratively, not physical stick. Right? If I make a mistake, he's going to correct me. And that's how Guru means strong. Guru means heavy. A Guru has to correct the disciple. Right? Otherwise, like Harivilas Maharaj in Seattle says, he becomes a kangaroo. Instead of a Guru, a kangaroo which jumps from point to point. Right? So Guru means has to be very strong and train the disciple in such a way that you basically give up the material conception of life and follow the devotional process. It doesn't happen in one day. For me, it has taken since 2003, 21 years of hearing and chanting from at least 10 different sannyasis. Many of them, like Bhakti Charu Maharaj, gave to our home in Seattle and gave a class. Right? So I've had the very good fortune of associating with all this. Not everybody will have that because gradually they are all leaving the planet. Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, I used to sit at his feet and listen to him a lot as he's speaking to. Although I'm not his disciple, he was speaking a lot of wisdom and I was hearing him. So all this, the good news is YouTube was invented so that Krishna consciousness can be spread. Right? Like last weekend, 3 days ago, I was in New York, Rath Yatra. So I was giving out these pamphlets on chanting Hare Krishna and I would make people chant and I record them. I put them on my YouTube channel, Radhika Gopinath Das. So that somebody can hear that, right? I mean, I had one transgender individual who come to me. He chanted. Anybody can chant. It's not like it is only for Pakka Brahmins to chant and everybody else is low class. No. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Patita Pavana Tava Avatar. So for the lowest of the lowest, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give his mercy. I was the lowest of lowest, right? I was drinking alcohol, eating meat. So his mercy came to me first because I'm first in line. All the low class people are first in line with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Yeah.
How old were you when you began?
36. I'm 56 now. So I'm already late. Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that you should take to devotion when you are 5 years old, the age of this boy there. But I missed the boat, or the age of the girl there, right? I missed the boat. I was an atheist for a good part of my life, half my life. Average lifespan is 72, 75 years. So half of my life, I was not totally an atheist, but I was a rebel, right? No. Like in Discover Yourself course, we talk about this. There were a group of students in IIT Mumbai. Mumbai is Bombay. IIT is Indian Institute of Technology, a premier institute. So they were all atheists. We will not believe in God. And then one day this guy starts his new business. And on that day he's doing puja. So then all these people said, "Arey, why are you worshipping? I thought we are all atheists. Atheists united. Let's go. Why are you worshipping God or so-called God?" He said, "See, I spent so much money in starting this new business. If there is a God, this is an insurance policy." If there is a God, at least he is also happy, you know. That's how people think. People have no understanding of that there is a higher authority and we have to always follow the higher authority. If you go 55 in a 35 zone, someday you're going to get a ticket. Same thing, if you violate the principles of God, someday we are going to get a ticket. Recently my friend died, good friend, of cancer. He was a very good devotee, but in his youth he was a smoker. Eventually cancer hit his body and he died last week. I'm at an age where I'm hearing my classmates and my seniors die. 56 is not an age to die, but because of bad habits, eating excessive meat, drinking alcohol, liver is a purificatory instrument, right? Organ. If you overload it, at some point it's going to give up. People die of that. So when Srila Prabhupada says follow these 4 principles, it is for your good life. No eating meat, fish or eggs, no drinking alcohol, no speculation or gambling, and no illicit activities outside of marriage. Like, what's his name? Bill Clinton got caught doing hanky-panky with Lewinsky, Monica Lewinsky. And mostly nobody has respect for him anymore, right? So your career gets finished if you do bad things. Drinking alcohol, so many people get drunk and do foolish things, which they would not normally do. They would do foolish things, get in trouble with the law, right? Gambling. I know families which were ruined because of gambling. My roommate from PhD program when I was doing PhD, he went to Biloxi, Mississippi. In one night he lost $30,000. He spent the next 10 years repaying that debt with interest. One night of foolishness cost him 10 years of his happiness. Right? So when Srila Prabhupada says follow these principles, even if you don't go back to Godhead, even if you don't attain liberation, you will have a good life in this planet. Right? These 4 principles are the 4 pillars, of dharma, right? Satyam, Saucham, Shamadaya, Kalena, Balina, Rajan, Nungshutu, Balam, Ayush, Miti. Right? In the Kali Yuga, our memory is going down, our physical energy is going down, everything is going down. Right? That is the nature of Kali Yuga. But then, there is only one good thing in Kali Yuga. What is that one good thing? Kirtanaya Krishnasya. So if you do Kirtan of Krishna, even though we are in this mud, in the deep clay, we can still get extracted and go back to spiritual world. That is in the Satyuga, you have to go to you live 100,000 years in Satyuga. So you have to go to the forest and do austerity for 10,000 years. When you live 100,000 years, at least 1/10 you have to spend. Who wants to spend 10,000 years? Our process is very easy. Dance, chant, eat prasadam, read the scriptures, and go back to our Father Krishna. Is any other process easier than this? It's not. So we are very fortunate to be born in Kali Yuga, because in Kali Yuga, just by following this simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can go back to our Father Krishna. How easy is that? Right? You don't have to do yajnas. By the way, our temple leader, Nityananda Prabhu, His Grace Nityananda Prabhu was telling me when he was doing Narsimha Homam at my home in Prosper, Texas, that according to Vedic rules, 10 miles by 10 miles, that is the size of the Havan Kund. And there are Brahmins sitting all around the Havan Kund, and they are offering ghee. You know how much ghee? You have to bring ghee on elephants. So much ghee. Not like this small little vessel and Om Swaha, because we are very poor. We cannot afford. Ghee is what, $23 a pound if you go to any store here. We think we are very rich. We are actually very poor. You cannot afford 10 trucks of ghee. Then you'll have to sell your home, sell yourself to buy ghee. So it's not possible. That is why chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is the yajna for the Kali Yuga. Yeah. Okay, any other final question? I don't even know when I should stop. It's 7:57, but we should probably stop. Any other questions? Maybe gentlemen there?
I don't have
This is an interaction. It's not like I'm teaching and you are learning. We are all learning from Swami Prabhupada here.
Yeah, we are also following Bhagavatam, reading.
Oh, very good.
Reading everything.
Excellent. So you are students or behind the ladies? You are students or working? Where do you study?
University of Texas,
Arlington, UTA. Oh, nice. So any questions? Because I studied engineering and that ruined my mind, right? I didn't think God was necessary. All you do is put petrol in the engine, the pistons go up and down, and the crankshaft transfers that to the wheels and the car moves forward. Where is the question of God? Yeah, I used to be like that. Huh?
We are from mechanical.
Oh, you are from mechanical. I have masters in mechanical. But now I am convinced all that is bogus. The real thing is this: understanding our soul and our relationship with Krishna. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Should we sing or should we stop? We will sing for 5 minutes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.